Hello and welcome back to my channel. So guys, if you want to see how to make a very delicious round shaped Nigerian puff puff without making mess with your hand while trying to achieve that nice shape, and at the end of the day your puff puff is not coming out perfect, do stay tuned as I take you through all the ingredients, measurement and two methods of making your puff puff. Yeah, so guys, on today's recipe, I'm going to be making a very well detailed Nigerian puff puff recipe. So this is a very requested video from one of my beautiful subscriber asking me to display and show her the ingredients of baking, which she watched my donut recipe and she wanted to see the yeast and the ingredients that I used. Okay, so let's get started with this recipe. So I'm going to start by explaining the yeast. So this is a dried yeast. On my first puff puff recipe, this was the yeast I used. When you're going to use this dried yeast, you have to activate it with warm water for about 2 to 3 minutes before adding it to your dry ingredients. So this is a fast action yeast. This was the one I used for my donut recipe. And with this yeast, you don't need to activate it with warm water. All you need to do is add it to your dry ingredients and you're good to go. So this one is the one I'm going to be using for today's puff puff recipe. So we're also going to be needing some sugar. So this is self-raising flour, okay? So this flour here is the one we use when we're making our Nigerian puff puff. This was the same one I used for my first puff puff recipe, and this is the one I'm going to be using today to make my puff puff. So this one is plain flour, which is also known as all-purpose flour, yeah? With this flour, you can use it to make your Nigerian buns, meat pie, egg roll, donuts. This was the one I used in making my donuts. Oh my god. Yeah. So that just fell off. So I'm not going to be using the plain flour. I'm going to be using the self-raising flour. So guys, let's start with this recipe. And this is my measuring cup. This is the 1 cup, which is 250 ml. This is half a teaspoon, which is 7.5 ml. This is 1 teaspoon, which is 15 ml. So guys, to start, we'll start by adding 3 cups of self-raising flour into our dry bowl. 3 tablespoons sugar, 1 tablespoon yeast, and a pinch of salt, a pinch of nutmeg, and I'm going to whisk it together to mix it up properly. So I'm going to use my spatula to dip a hole in my dry ingredients, and I'm going to be adding 1 cup of warm water. So guys, I'm going to be adding in my water bit by bit as I mix my batter. So I'm going to keep on mixing until I get that nice consistency that I'm going to be using to make my puff puff. So to get the full measurement and the list of these ingredients I'm using, do check out the description box where you can easily get full access to the list and measurements. So I'm going to be mixing my batter for about 3 to 5 minutes. And right now I'm going to be adding in just a teaspoon vanilla extract, as I love the flavor of vanilla extract. So guys, at this moment you can see the consistency of my batter. It's a very sticky and runny batter, so that's what I'm going to be using today. So after mixing, I'm going to get my cling film and I'm going to make sure I seal and tight my batter with the cling film so it will get that nice heat. As you can see, I'm using 2 layers of cling film, and I'm going to use my kitchen towel to cover it and put it in a dry place, which is my oven, and allow it to rest for 1 hour. So guys, you can see how my batter have tripled its size. It has risen up after 60 minutes of being in a dry place, warm dry place. So I'm going to use my spatula to mix it for just 10 seconds, and that's it. So guys, I'm going to be showing you the first step to get that perfect round shaped puff puff without messing your hand and your puff puff not coming out in an ugly shape. So I'm going to be using an icy piping bag, of which I'm going to scoop in a nice amount of my batter into the piping bag. You can get this piping bag from any shop. This is the one you use in icing your cake. So you can see what it looks like. It's just a triangle shape. So I'm going to see if my oil is hot enough to do the job. You can see it's well hot and ready for the job. So at this moment, I will put my fire on a medium heat, and I'm going to use my kitchen scissors to cut off the mouth of the piping bag. So you can see the shape of the bag that I cut is not too big, so your puff puff does not come out running out. So I'm going to keep on using my kitchen scissors to cut it out into the hot oil. So guys, this method is very easy for a beginner, and it's very neat, no mess. Like, you're just going to get that perfect round shaped puff puff. Most especially when you're trying to make for a party or for a guest, I would advise you use this method, as it's very handy and simple. So I'm going to keep on doing this until I get all that nice shaped puff puff in my hot oil. So at this moment, I'm going to use my fork or my spoon to just make sure I turn it round so all the puff puff would get cooked evenly without getting burnt. So guys, I'm going to continuously stirring the puff puff so each side will get cooked properly. And at this moment, you can see my puff puff is well cooked. It is golden brown. So I'm going to be taking it off the oil and allow it to drain off all the excess oil. Wow, so guys, you can see how this puff puff looks so inviting and nicely shaped. So guys, now we're going to be making the second method, which is wetting our palm in the oil. We're not wetting it in the hot oil, okay? So I'm going to be using my palm to scoop it out inside the hot oil. And do make sure you bring down the volume of the heat of the oil at this point, because it is very hot from your previous puff puff that you just did. So I'm going to be using my palm to scoop it out inside the oil. This method is also easy, but the first method is more easy, no mess, and perfect shape. So guys, I'm going to be scooping it out and I'm going to show you the difference of the two method puff puff. Yeah, so this is the hand scooping method. It is still well nicely shaped, but I prefer the icing piping bag on because it comes out beautiful, nice, and no mess. So guys, I hope you do enjoy this recipe. So guys, please don't forget to hit that red button and subscribe. Click on the bell icon that goes with it. That way you will never miss any of my uploads. Drop me a comment letting me know which method you love most, okay? So guys, as you can see, I just did a nice sugar glaze and I use it to glaze up the puff puff as my kids love it this way. And thank you very much guys for watching. Till I see you again on my next recipe. Bye bye.